it's done. Yeah, I finally got it all put back together. Right now I'm in the braking period on the Diff. The 410 motor gears with the 8-inch track, it does whine a bit. That might just be how my driveline shop set it up. A lot of people do complain about these gear sets whining, or at least mention it. It's not really a huge deal to me, I don't really care. It's got a freaking long tube header, it's cat back. It's loud already, I really don't care. I am scheduled to get an alignment on Monday to get the rear wheels lined up, and I'm going to do the front one because I'm already there. So they're going to do a full alignment on it. It drives relatively straight. I've been driving it to and from work just to do the braking period because it's like 10-15 miles to my work. So I've been using that to kind of break in the rear diff. You got to heat cycle it 3 times by driving it 10 to 15 minutes. And then letting it fully cool down, and then you do that 3 times. I'm past that point now. I'm on 500 easy street miles. I don't take it above 60 miles an hour just because that's what the driveline shop told me to do. So I'm just gonna baby it. I don't take it on the interstate or anything. It's all surface street driving. Obviously, don't beat on it, stuff like that. I actually can't wait to get out of the braking period because then I can full send it on the new rear upper control arm bushings, the trailing arms, toe rods, the diff bushings, the cradle bushings. So we'll get to test all that stuff out. I still have stock axles on it, so I'm not going to take it to the track and do hard launches just because I don't want to break axles. I need to get a set of spares ordered first before I go do that. That way, in case I do break them, I got them. Because I'm taking this to TX2K. It's actually going to leading edge performance once the braking period's done to get it tuned for E85 and 91. They'll install the injectors, and then I have a line lock kit sitting there ready to go. I don't know when I'm going to put that on. It's probably going to be after TX2K. Like I said, I'm not going to be doing any date racing on this car until I get done with TX2K, because that's a trip that me and a couple friends from my last duty station, we're going together in March to go check that out. So I got to save money, so I'm not trying to do anything that's going to break this car. So the process was, not the worst thing I've ever done. It's not easy picking up the rear subframe or dropping the rear subframe and putting it back up there by yourself, but it can be done with enough jacks and some wood to kind of help stabilize things. So it can be done. Do I recommend it? No, it wasn't fun. You can do it, but it's not fun. The cradle bushings. The front 2 went in just fine. I'll see if I can throw in a snippet of a video here of me installing the rear bushings. Yeah, those were not easy to install. I had to grease them, I freezed them, I heated up the cradle, and I used this, I'll let me grab it real quick, I have it sitting right here. I use this contraption. So basically 2 steel washers, get ones that are relatively thick. I believe this is 3/4 inch, right? I don't know, I can't remember if this is 3/4 inch or not. It's either 3/4 inch or 5/8. This might be 5/8 all thread rod. And I just cut it to where it would fit, and then took 2 bolts and snug them together so that way they would move. And then I basically stuck this through the cradle and the bushings, and then used this as a press and slowly drew it down onto it. So get yourself one of these. I couldn't use the 2 jaw pullers because I couldn't get them to stay on the cradle. There wasn't much purchase grip on the cradle that I could grab onto, so I did this. As you can see, it bent up the washers pretty good, so just be prepared for that. Those are not fun. I've got everything greased up down there. I recommend using the lube that BMR recommends that you use, which is it's like a 14-ounce super lube, I think is what it's called. Goes in a grease gun, and I lubed up all the points really, really well. I use blue Loctite on every bolt besides the drive shaft bolts. Those got red. I red Loctited those because I don't want those coming off while I'm doing a pull or something, and pole vaulting the car. So I need to get a drive shaft safety loop installed in this thing too, realistically speaking, before I do any really hard hits. Just in case if it does fall. If it falls from the front and it catches something on the ground, well, you can see it's going to pole vault the drive shaft straight into the rear of the car. So get yourself a drive shaft safety loop. But yeah, been doing some test drives. Like I said, it whines quite a bit, but like I said, I don't really care. What's coming up next for the Camaro? Well, it's going to be sitting in the form that it's in now for a little while. I do plan on buying a nitrous kit for it. I think that's around I'm going to go and have leading edge tune that when I get it too. So I'll be running nitrous at E85, so hopefully it would make around 700, 750. Might do less than that, like 100 shot or 150 shot, just to keep it down below 700. This engine on pistons, I believe it's 1 and 3. There was valves that dropped on it, so I don't want to run too much boost too much nitrous, and you know, have those hot spots create detonation and stuff. So we'll see what it can do. But what's next after the nitrous kit is probably going to be a harness bar, some harnesses, stuff like that. I've got a few cosmetic things. I've got like $15,000 plus in let's call them chassis / platform modifications that I want to do, and then obviously I want to put together a 416 to replace that stock bottom end. And once that gets done, I'll be saving up to send the transmission out to Tick Performance. I'm going to do I believe their stage 3 build. I'm just going to bulletproof the trans. And then after that, really the shortcoming of the car after the motor, trans, axles is probably going to be the diff again. The stock SS 8.6 inch diff, they're not that strong. So we'll see how it goes. You know, down the road, if I go supercharger or turbos after the 416, I'll see about getting they make a 9-inch conversion kit they make a 9-inch IRS conversion kit for these cars. So we'll see how it goes, but that's way down the line. I ain't got money for that right now. Probably for a while it's going to be sitting how it sits with the E85. We'll probably make it around 520. And I'll be getting the intake manifold rod modded as well. I'm not going to port it, because if I plan on running boost, I don't want to run it through a ported manifold because it's going to weaken the sidewalls of it. I was talking to Andrew about that. Eventually I'll save up and get a better intake manifold, but for now what I'm doing for what it can flow with nitrous and E85, a rod modded intake is going to be more than plenty to deal with what I'm doing. It's not anything crazy like an 8-second car, so it's, you know, I'm just trying to get into the 10s, and on nitrous it should be dancing low 10s, high 9s. So that's why I'm going to be doing some safety stuff after I get the nitrous kit put in. So, but anyway, just a little update. I might see about throwing in some driving videos on this, although it's going to be pretty boring. I might not do that. I'll tell you what, I might throw in a montage of me working on the car. I did take video of me while I was working on the car, but I don't have patience, so a lot of it is me fighting it. So, you know, I'm not sure if I'll put the funnier moments in there, so we'll cut to that. But so I'm going to attempt to knock out these 2 bushings here. They say to heat them up. When you do that, just be sure that you move electrical connections and stuff out of the way. You do need this washer that's on there, so figure out a way to get that out. So I got it off. You can either cut these out with a hacksaw or something, but you gotta be really careful not to catch that edge there, or you can do what I did and blowtorch the hell out of it, jam a screwdriver underneath it between it and the bushing and pry it out. It'll come out. There's glue, which is why it was so stuck. So we just gotta heat that glue up a bunch and pry the hell out of it, and it'll come off. Mine's a little bit rusty. Honestly, I'd like to get new ones, but you can't get new ones, so these are gonna go back in the car, I guess. But anyway, that's how you get that out. I'm gonna do the other one here. Wife's got cinnamon rolls for me, so I'll be right back. Okay, so when you're putting this together, let's see here. I can sure you guys aren't looking just straight at my crotch. There we go. So when you're putting this together, the flat side of the bushing goes between the frame and the car. So make sure you have that oriented properly. You put the cupped bushing underneath, and then you'll take your washer from the old bushing. It's a pain in the ass to get out, and that goes there, rides on that inner metal dowel pin, I guess you can call it, and you bolt it up that way. So, yep, that's how you do that. So I'm going to go ahead and melt this other one out, and we'll grab the other bushings, get them pushed in, and then I think I'm going to wash the subframe, wash the upper control arms, put the upper control arms, wash the subframe, wash the upper control arms, get these bushings out, put the new one of these in, and then we'll go ahead and get the upper control arms back on the subframe, lift the subframe back into the car, and get the subframe back in. Because honestly, I can do the diff and the other suspension components with them off the car. I can do it with the subframe in the car later down the road. So I'm also going to see if I can get this somewhere. I didn't realize they marked these. I can probably get the alignment on this relatively close because they marked these bolts. So I should be able to get the camera relatively close, even though it's not going to be perfect. I'll take it to the alignment shop after I get all this done. So go ahead and get this one out, get the other bushing pressed in, and we'll go from there. Ouch, got it though. Ow. Okay, well that's not. Sorry. Okay, I'm not sure where I left off in the last video. I've been doing this on and off now for a couple of weeks. So I've got all the parts in. I think the last thing that was stopping me was the upper control arm bushings, the back ones. I ordered the Delrin ones because I wasn't going to deal with pressing the old ones out of the I guess holders, if you want to call it. So I didn't really see any instructional videos online, so I just said screw it, returned the other ones and bought the Delrin ones. They were the same price anyway, so it saves you trouble. So I would just go for the Delrin ones. If you're going to be doing your upper control arm bushings, don't go for the press-in ones. It's more work than it needs to be. So I got the subframe under the car. I just gotta get it jacked up and put underneath it. So we're gonna cut to that, and I don't know if I'm gonna time lapse or what. So, all right. Okay, 6 hours later. There's probably a lot of the content that I'm gonna skip there because I got pissed off because this is very frustrating. But I finally figured something out because I'm stupid. So like, give me a minute, okay? So what I ended up doing was greasing the hell out of both of these bushings. You're supposed to anyway. I think it says it in the, I don't know, maybe it says in the instructions, but grease them. And then I went out to Home Depot. You can go to Home Depot, Lowe's, probably Ace has it too. And get some 5/8 all thread. You're gonna need like, I'd get like a foot, and then I death wheeled it off as much as I needed. And get yourself a, I'll show you here, get yourself a really large diameter washer that'll fit through, that the 5/8 all thread will fit through, and then just use 2 nuts and use it like a bushing press, I guess. If it starts going in crooked, keep wrenching down, get some pressure on it, and then smack it with a hammer. I finally got this one in. I've got one more to do. The front 2 for me were fine. They went in like butter, I think like 2 weeks ago. I just like tossed them in. I didn't think these were going to be that bad. But yeah, I was fighting this. You're not going to see it, but a fight. So anyway, I'm going to finish this up, get the other one in, and then I'll put the rear cradle up. And then after that, tomorrow morning, I'm waiting on bolts for the calipers because those are torque dealed. So when you take off your calipers, and I'm pretty sure this goes for V6, SS, ZL1, Z28, all of them, get new bolts. I know a lot of people are just like, screw it, Loctite, whatever. They're your brakes. If you're playing on drag racing or doing any kind of track racing, it is not worth skipping the $3 bolts and putting them on there, having a brake caliper come off at like 130 miles an hour, and you end up dying or getting severely injured. So buy the bolts. If I remember, I'll include the part number for you to get them. I think I got mine on gmpartsgiant.com. I go to them for all my OEM stuff. Like I said, now these bolts, they clearly don't have Loctite on them at all now, but I'm going to Loctite these with some medium strength. If you use red strength, I don't like you, unless it's for like torque converter bolts or something. They put them on my drive shaft bolts, and yes, I understand why you did that, but Jesus Christ, those were impossible to get off. I was underneath that car for like 2 days trying to get those bolts out. So there's just not much room to work with, that's why. But yeah, I will be blue Loctiting all the nuts and bolts for the suspension. There's some that already had them on them and some that don't. Like the ones that are nutted, I think the nuts are kind of like lock nuts, so they don't need them, but I'm going to put it on there anyway, just rather be safe than dead. So I'm going to finish putting in these 2 bushings, and then I don't know if I'm going to keep working on this tonight or not, because my back hurts, okay? So we'll see how motivated I am. Oh, also make sure you grease all the bushings. Like if you're doing trailing arms and tail arms like I am, there's grease zerks on those. Make sure you put some grease on them. I ordered like the 14-ounce super lube stuff that BMR has. So I just ordered that. I'm sure just grease them. I don't think it's got to be specific grease. Just something that allows them to move a little. But yeah. Oh. Sorry, I forgot to explain. Make sure you put double nut on the bottom and tighten it up on itself. Got the camera attached to the tripod. Go ahead and double nut these. That way you've got something to get on and it won't spin. So like I use a socket on it. It holds it. So, and then up here I'm just using my end wrench to press them on. So, there's that. I'm gonna get this done. Have fun watching me. Success. I'm gonna go drink. As soon as I can get up. now that it's the next day, as you guys saw yesterday, I got the rear bushings in. Those guys. Now I'm gonna go ahead and get this up underneath the car and try to get it bolted up. So we'll see how that goes. Probably a lot of fighting involved.
Alright guys, I end up skipping putting the rest of the suspension and that together after I get this rear subframe in. Just make sure that you hook up your evap lines coming off the gas tank and the evap canister, as well as the harness for the ABS sensors. After that, it's, you know, other than that, it's just putting it back together the way you took it apart. Put your parking brake line, but your parking brake back on, calipers, stuff like that. Make sure you use new brake caliper bolts because those are torque to yield bolts. So just go ahead and don't cheap out on it. Go ahead and just spend the extra bucks on getting new bolts because they are torque to yield since they will stretch. So.
Anyway, yeah, it's an update on the Camaro. It's back on all four wheels. Getting ready for TX2K. So, anyway, that's it. I'll see you later.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!